going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards. Here for a mail day slash, this is going to be more of some general market thoughts from the vibes that I'm picking up that also happen to coincide with a purchase that I just made. So it's kind of a mail day. It's a one card mail day, but it's going to be a bigger discussion than just a mail day. So, yeah, before we get into it, like, comment, sub, YouTube stuff down below. Guys and girls know the drill. Smash the like button. Everyone says that it's dumb, I know, but it does actually help the YouTube algorithm stuff. So if you enjoy the content, smash it. So we have a single card mail day. I am going to open this up and yammer on at the same time. As we've talked about on the channel a lot, I believe that now is, in my personal opinion, one of the better times to go buy Luka stuff. I feel like he is in a major dip at the moment, and that when we look back at charts at the start of next season, we are all going to question what the hell were we thinking, not just buying more Luka. So I have been on the prowl for a Luka purchase. This box does not want to agree with me. This is why I don't normally open these on camera. I've been on the prowl for a new Luka purchase, and I didn't want to go like too crazy because, I mean, Luka stuff can get real pricey real quick. So I wanted something semi-reasonable, but I already have a couple Optic PSA 10s and a True Gem BGS 9.5 Prizm. That's my main Luka stuff. I have some other odds and ends of stuff. I have a Luka Optic Raw. I have a Luka Prizm Raw. I have a Luka Optic SGC 10. I don't have any color. I don't have anything super high end. I just know that I wanted another Luka card. And I didn't want Prizm Base. And that's where we're going to get into the market shift thing. So, given that, I will let you guys and girls take a second to guess what is in this piece of bubble wrap. So, it's not color, it's a base card. This should be a pretty easy guess. And I didn't want Prizm. Because, well, we'll talk about it once I get this open. This is right here is exactly why I don't open things on camera. Painter's tape, people. Please, painter's tape. So if you haven't figured it out by now, Luka Premier Silver. I'm sorry, Premier PSA 10. Not a silver. Silver's like $4 grand in this card, maybe 3. I don't remember. Gotta get it out of this clunky team bag thing though, and into a perfect fit. I have been on the prowl for this card for a while. I have wanted one of these. Like I said, I was in the market for something Luka around the $1,000 to $1,500 mark. There's plenty of options there. And this is what I decided to go with. Biggest reason why is I just don't want Prizm Base anymore. And I think the market is headed that direction. I know that we've talked a lot about, select overtaking Prizm, this, that, and the other thing. And I don't know whether that ever happens or not. In some cases it has, especially with the premier level. But the vibe that I've gotten from talking to people just in the community. And what really put me onto this was going to the shows the last month. You know, I've been to 4 shows in the last 6 weeks, I think. And there's, you even heard it on one of my show videos, one of the vendors talking. There's definitely a vibe right now of people wanting to get off of Prizm Base, at least from 1819 and 1920. You know, if you go back to Tatum and Mitchell's stuff, the population counts are much more reasonable on Prizm Base. This is very specifically a 2018 class Luka Trey and Zion Ja thing. And I really do think there is a movement for people trying to get out of, they don't want to get out of the player. Like, people want Luka, but they don't want the Prizm Base anymore. You know, they don't want this. And I know, say this was a PSA 10. They want this. And I really think that that shift is happening right now. We've seen it in the charts specifically with Select, but I'm just getting a vibe from these shows of people trying to move their Prizm Base, whether it's trade in or sell off Prizm Base and then use the money to go buy the same player, but just in something different that has a lower population count associated with it. I think the pop numbers on 1819 and 1920 Prizm have finally caught up with it. Now, don't get me wrong. Prizm's still going to be extremely liquid. I don't think that's not changing. I'm not going all doom and gloom here, but I'm definitely feeling and sensing a shift of people wanting to get out of Prizm Base and into other stuff. Even if it's other, like, you know, personally right now, I would almost rather have, and this is going to sound crazy, like a PSA 10 Prizm of the, well, hold on. I'm going to pull up market movers. So let's transition over to market movers really quick. Voila, through the magic of editing. So market movers is up. These charts and graphs are going back from December 25th. That's the date I like to use for the basic. I know it's not the exact start date of the NBA season, but it's a couple days after. It's a nice, easy, clean date to remember. So when I look at a whole season's worth of stuff, I'm always going back to the same day, Christmas Day. Easy enough. And I don't necessarily care too much about the ups and downs here, but we beat this horse to death, but you could tell, okay, Luka Base Prizm since Christmas Day is down 40%. His Optic is down 32%. His Revolution, which I included on this list, is down 50%. His Select Concourse is only down 8%, and the Select Premier is up 62%. Now, this shows last closing sale on average at $1,400 on 4/13. One hasn't sold for a couple days. I got this for $1,200. Well, it ended up being like $1,275, but I had eBay bucks, which took it down to about $1,200. So depending on how you want to map that out, basically I'm into it for $1,200 out of pocket on this. And this is the reason why I specifically targeted this card. So for slightly more, you know, base Prizms, let's just call it $1,200 to keep the numbers simple, are going for $1,200. There's a population count of, we are approaching 17,000 base Luka Prizms. 17,000. We're at 16.6. You know, I don't see this number going like to 20,000. Maybe it does get there eventually. I just assume most people that have Luka have graded Luka by now. But I guess there is a lot of sealed products sitting out there. So who knows? Regardless, we're almost at 17,000. For $200 more, well, in my case, the same price, because I think I got a pretty good deal on this. I had an eBay alert set up for this. Someone posted one for $1,500 or best offer, and that was basically what they've been going for, is about $14 to $14.50. And I said, what the hell? And I just threw an offer in at $1,200, and they immediately accepted. And I probably sent the offer within 5 minutes of the card getting posted. And I was extremely happy with that. So even if this card slides, so even if the Luka market softens a little bit more, I'm fine with that. I have a little bit of room. And even if it dips down below that, I feel fine. The biggest reason why, I've always said Luka is a long-term hold in my mind. He's the one player I am not going to sweat the ups and downs in season at all. I'm in for the long haul on him. Right, wrong, or indifferent, He's the one player of the modern guys that I do believe could potentially be generational. So with that being said, I specifically targeted this card for this very reason. Well, two reasons. The brand, Select, is becoming more popular. And even if it stays number 2 behind Prizm, Select is a very respected brand in the hobby. It's not like, one of the more fringy things like a Revolution. I like Revolution a lot, but a lot of people don't. Everyone likes Select. And then I specifically went with the Premier level because I wanted something more rare than the Concourse. There are only 540 of these. That is not that many. And I'll die on this hill. I think, let's say Luka 5 years from now has won, maybe 6 years from now, has won 1 or 2 NBA championships. And people are looking for a base card, not silvers, not numbered parallels, nothing crazy. I think this is the base card people are going to want because of the rarity. Yeah, you'll be able to go out and find Prizm anytime that you want. But to me, if Prizm Base is a $1,200 card at almost a 17,000 population count, this should be a lot higher. Hell, even Select Concourse, this one has a pop count of 1,400, should be a lot higher. In my opinion, the most underrated card in the market is his Optic Base. I adore this card. I think it looks super clean, has the rated rookie logo on it. They're kind of tough grades with the optic surface issues plus centering. For what this thing is going for these days, if you're in for Luka long term, there's only 3,700 of these. So let's say it gets above 4,000, maybe even 5,000. That's not a ton. It's a lot better than this thing getting the 16 or 17K. And then as a niche one, an off the beaten path one, I do really like the Revolution. In fact, I am looking to pick up potentially a Revolution, depending on, I have irons in the fire on a couple other Luka things, but I am looking to make plays on this Luka Dip and not necessarily to flip for the playoffs. But to me, if you believe in the long-term card market, this card specifically, I think, is undervalued, even with the price increase it's gotten with the 62% gain since Christmas. There's just not a lot of these things. I've been looking to get one for a while, and it took me a hot minute to find one that was competitively priced. They're out there on eBay, but people have them at like $1,700, $1,750, $1,800, which is not current comps. And I wasn't going to pay way over current comps at all. I was going to look to try to find a deal in this dip, and I found it and struck. We'll see what happens. Is it a smart play or is it a dumb play? I don't know. You guys and girls tell me. What do you think? If you had 1,200-ish to 1,500-ish to make a play on a Luka card, what would you go for? Would you go for like a PSA 9 color? Or would you rather have a PSA 10 base? Because I probably could have got into a PSA 9 something for around the same price. I didn't get too deep into that because I've been fixated specifically on this card for a while. But I just think there's a strong push right now to get out of this stuff. 17,000 of these. That's a lot. It takes a lot to move. That's the other thing I think that we're seeing with these prices. It's real easy for this to come down. Real easy. Because there's so many of them. If there's a sell-off, there's 17, I'm just going to say 17,000 because we're almost there. There's 17,000 of these on the market. And if people want to move them, they're just going to keep undercutting each other. When you have that many out there, that's just more people to keep undercutting each other. Okay, you went to 1,100 to try to move it after they get eliminated from the playoffs. Cool. I'm going to 1050. Well, hell, I got one of those things too. I'm going to 1,000. Screw that. I'm going to 950. And that's how you see these massive fall offs right after a major event, because everyone keeps undercutting each other trying to get out of the card after a player gets eliminated because they don't want to hold the card. They would rather have the cash to go make another play, if you will, instead of sitting on the card for another 3-4 months for the next NBA season to roll around and potentially sell it at the peak at the beginning of the following season. Whereas something like the lower population count stuff, there's only 540 of them out there. A certain percentage of those are just off the market. They're in a Luka collector's hands and they're not going anywhere. So now that number gets a little bit smaller, and most people on a lower population count card, you have less people undercutting you. On the flip side, for this card to go way up in price now, what does the demand need to be? You know, there's 17,000 of these things out there. How much demand has to be there to get this from 1,200 back up to, say, like even 1,500, 1,600 where it was? I mean, this was a $2,000 card when the season started, and now it's down to 1,200. To get this thing from this back to this, the demand's going to have to be insane because there are so many of these things out there. So this number to shift upwards, I personally think, is going to take a ton of work. Whereas if Luka's going crazy, this lower population count stuff can move way faster in price because there's just not that many of them out there. As long as the demand's there. Once again, the player has to perform. That's always been the case. So, like I said, I personally believe for Luka's prices specifically, I think we're at a dip. Now, could they go lower when he gets eliminated from the playoffs? Sure. The problem is we don't know what happens between now and then. You know, if they get bounced in the first round, if they lose the play-in game or something wild and crazy like that, this card could absolutely go down and I could be upside down on it for a while until next season starts. That could 100% happen. Same with like a Luka Base Prizm. Like that thing could easily drop below $1,000 if they get eliminated in a play-in game and don't even actually make the playoffs proper. That's 100% on the table. However, if they win a play-in game and he goes psycho and hits some crazy game-winning shot or whatever, and then has a really good first round of the playoffs, maybe they don't win, but he plays well, his prices are going to keep going up throughout the playoffs if the market gets back to normal. Then they're going to get eliminated and his prices are going to crash back down again. So then the question is did he gain enough that when the crash happens, he just crashes right back down to where he left off? Or does he crash below the old floor? That's what we don't know. But regardless, I just felt at a mid 500 population count for $200 under current comps, I felt good about pulling the trigger on this. Maybe this thing gets back below 1,000 again after the playoffs and I could have waited and been patient. That's fine. Maybe that's the case. But in the long run, I feel pretty good about this card for around that price point at that population count with this very specific player. And like I said, I am definitely, I don't, maybe you guys and girls are hearing it too. Are you guys and girls getting a vibe of, hey man, I don't know, like I like Ja or I like Zion, but do you want to buy my base? I'm looking to get into the same player in a different card. I'm starting to feel that vibe. So let me know if you guys and girls are hearing the same thing or not. I'll be curious. Is this just me that's hearing this, or is this definitely out there? And is that why we're seeing, you know, are modern NBA prices depressed because people are trying to just move off because Prizm is so out there? There's so much of it. And like underneath, like this select stuff is actually doing pretty well. Like the lower pop count stuff's doing okay. Maybe not necessarily going up. It's still down, but hasn't lost as much. I know that's not the case for everything. Like I have, you know, all Ja stuff is way down. I have the Ja Optic Purple that I've talked about a bunch on the channel. This is like $350 right now. I think I bought mine for like $550 at Christmas, like basically at the peak of the current NBA market, other than the summer. But like this season of the NBA market, I basically ended up buying high on this. I've seen these go for $350, $375. You know, if you're looking to buy in the Ja, I love this card. There's like 50 of them, I think. I don't remember. It's under 100, the population count on these, and it's just a gorgeous looking card. So that stuff has not held up well. So that argument doesn't hold water with that. I don't know, but with Select Base, it has. So that's just kind of my thoughts. Just some a mail day / ramblings. But yeah, let me know what you guys and girls are thinking. Are you off Prizm Base? Are you looking to get out of it in players that you are looking to hold long term? And once again, this argument is strictly about 18, 19, and 19, 20. I'm not super worried about Tatum base Prizm or Mitchell base Prizm because the population counts on those, I believe, are like under 4,000 or maybe even under 5,000. They're not crazy. It's not 17,000. So that's all I got. We'll catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.